Hello again. Now, we're commenting you're a quiet bunch, so, feel free. Our next speaker, she's not going to bring the guitar out, but she says she's going to take cheeky questions. She wants to hear from you, so do feel free to get engaged. I hope you enjoyed your morning tea. I think one of the most exciting things about the New Zealand economy, and being a New Zealander actually, is seeing the economic growth and the growing power of Māori business, seeing the real flow-on effect from the treaty settlements translating into business and to well-being and into a real partnership model. And I think one of the best examples I've seen of that in recent times is in Christchurch, Ngāi Tahu, the Crown, the partnership we are seeing there with the rebuild of Christchurch. And it's probably unique in the world. I can't think of another example like that. Well, drawing on insight from Māori statistics for future Māori economic advancement, please welcome Dr Riri Ellis, who's on the board of the Federation of Māori Authorities.
Kia ora tātou katoa. Nā mihi kia tātou, mararo I te tuanui o tēnei whare, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou. Kua hau te uri o Ngaiterangi, Ngāti Raukawa, me Ngāti Tahu, kei te harikoa tēnei tangata ki te mihi atu kia koutou I tēnei rā. Kua hau te kai whakahaere mō mā tātua waka, mararo I te Federations of Māori Authorities, Riri Ellis ahau. I hear you don't ask many questions, so I think it might be a good idea if a couple of you just put some hairy ones out there so we have a little bit of a laughter towards the end of the session. Because Māori economic development tends to be quite a serious subject. We've got so much expectations that we want to achieve from all of the things that we do, and often we don't hit the goal that we're wanting to achieve just because our aspirations are so high. So while I'm here, I'm keen to get some questions, even if they're around treaty settlements. One of my roles before I finished last year with Te Runanga o Ngaiterangi iwi was to look after settlements, and you may not realise, but census data was actually quite a big part of how the formulas came together with determining the settlement packages that iwi have achieved over the time. I think all the statisticians in here got it wrong for Ngaiterangi. Whoever you are, you got it wrong. No. Most seriously though, population statistics are used in those formulas. And they are pertinent and they are relevant. So some of you have done some good work in there, helping till over that kind of work, and I just want to thank you for that. This is the first time I've come to an information forum like this, and just having a little look at some of the information in the past, I did learn from reading the Governor Statistician's information in 2010 that there is a quite pertinent objective from this forum. There are a lot of you here from the government agencies that work in the area of information management and how it's used to create policy and things like that. But what was really important and pressing for me is the reference to, there's some of us there. You tend to get the glamorous pictures around dinner and awards and that kind of stuff. It seems to give off a really positive event, and there's some of the things that FOMA has been involved in. Our chairperson down there, Tracy Hopapa, does a brilliant job looking after our work, and I'm just going to put some slides up there for you to have a look at. Some of you may be in them. If you are, put your hand up and show us. We're just going to go on to the next thing about how what we do relates to the work that you do as well. So this is probably a bit wordy, but I just want to read it out because for me it provides an element of stretch, and what I mean by that is it recognises that statistics are not just there at 1 minute in time and turn into a static concept. What you've got here is the statistical landscape has changed greatly since then, with significant gains for respondents and users, and the expectations that users like us have of the work that you all do is quite exceptional. One of the things I just want to bring into mind there is in the census data, it is a 5-year window, but we're already trying to challenge that, ask for more information, try and get it on a more timely horizon, and suggest that more needs to be done in that period. I'll give you just a quick example around that. Ngaitarangi, when we got the statistics from 2006, which was used for our settlement, we were right in the middle of our negotiations and what would you call it, extrapolated what we thought would be our population increase in 2013. We wanted to use that data so that we could test the model that the government used to make sure that the quantum that we were settling for would be consistent with the population at the time that we were settling. We couldn't get that issue over the line, but the concept is a real one, because we settle in 2013, we should be able to have the real-time data that's pertinent at that time. Unfortunately, that didn't come to the fore and we weren't able to progress that, but that's just one real issue that a lot of tribes are dealing with around the country. What that means for yous, I'm not sure. So just back to the Federation, I just want to give yous a bit of insight into what we do, what we'd like to do, what we haven't done but we said we were going to, and really sort of build a bit of a foundation around the work that the Federation is attempting to do. So just to be there, the mission, sorry I looked down here, is for sustainable economic prosperity for our members, for our communities and for Aotearoa on the whole. Too often people think that just because you have a Māori title around you that you're doing the work just for yourself, but really if Māori do well, everybody does well. If a Māori community in the middle of Whakatane or Te Kaha does well, and the population there is quite extensively Māori, all of that region does well. So that is a mantra that everyone is adhering to, and it's a good one because it helps bring us together and it makes sure that our goals and aspirations are consistent with each other. Hopefully I don't rabbit on too much about some of the things that we are about, but I'm just going to spend a little bit of time just giving some summary points before really what I think hitting the nail on the head with what the Federation is trying to do and where we think we are. We've been established since 1987. We've been in place to foster and promote development in the area of economic advancement for Māori authorities. Primarily we've had a agricultural platform where it's been around dairying, sheep development and forestry. That is tending to change at the moment, and the 130 to 150 trust incorporation make-up we have in our membership is starting to change with a bit of the treated post-settlement groups coming into our membership, and now a few of the bigger companies such as Miraka. So that landscape of change is requiring us to think a little bit more outside the square in relationship to the needs of the diverse groups that we're starting to now have around our table. Not only with that, the composition of the boards that we have, where in the past a trust may have a substantially elderly composition, that is changing quite markedly with very well-learned, young, professional and trained directors and trustees coming into the mix. The balancing act with that, of course, is that higher expectations from some of the younger ones don't necessarily translate into outcomes of economic development overnight. It takes time, but what it is doing is, in the past, instead of 20 years being a horizon in which a project may have started and ended with a trust, that's now been brought back to something like 1 or 2 years. Consequently, too, trusts are starting to amalgamate together and developing a quite robust partnership approach across the country, which is bringing about speedier and more extensive models of Māori economic development in the future. Just on that point, it's not always obvious that those things are happening, but in the news last week, many of you may have heard about the new venture capital initiative that some of the bigger iwi around the country are wishing to do. Those kind of things are simmering underneath and in boardrooms all around the country for those Māori authorities that have reserves in place to make a difference in the lives of their shareholders and their families. So we've been in place for 26 years now. The 25th anniversary was held in Taupo 2 years ago, It was a wonderful occasion which gave us the opportunity to look into the future and see what the Federation can and should do. So if we kind of just bring that to a focal point to recognise what the Federation can and does do, these are my interpretations of them. In my view, I think the Federation is at the forefront of development related to Māori economic development. I say that because we are not a quasi-government agency that has been funded too extensively by government and therefore has those kind of relationships there. While we have project funding, we are not a government agency. We are a member-endorsed organisation that is driven by the aspirations of its members. We have 11 regions around the country, and we have 11 representatives on our board. We have a crucial role to play in this area of development, which no other organisation around the country has the platform to undertake. One of the exceptional regions for that is the independence that the Federation currently has in regards to Māori economic development. We're leading much of the work in the area of innovation right at this point. That's something to be celebrated, and with that, though, comes the challenges associated with being a leader in that area. As a consequence of all of that, it's pertinent to reiterate that good quality information and data is fundamental to assisting us to achieve our goals. Many of you would have done, or some of your representatives would have done work with the Federation in the past, and I'm sure you understand how important it is to get good information from statistics from what you do. More pictures. So, just again looking at how the Federation arranges itself, there are 4 key po. Kotahitanga is one, mātauranga is another, that's been knowledge, tino rangatiratanga is another, and that's not the one where we get the red, black and white flag and go to Treaty of Waitangi on Waitangi Day or anything like that. It really is about autonomy and self-determination in the work that we do. And the other one is whaihua, and that one is around using innovative approaches to advancing our aspirations in the future. So just here in terms of mātauranga, the Statistics New Zealand is there primarily because there was a project that the Federation and New Zealand Statistics did together. It was about the agricultural productivity survey. That little project, I shouldn't say little, huge, the point of it was to glean pertinent data to assist with framing up where some of the members wanted to go in the future, and it involved some of the members in our organisation. What I understand, and this is quite an important point, is that 100% of those that were asked to participate in the project participated. So already there, that's 100% outcome, and that is an amazing point just there to say in terms of involvement. I had a look at some of the tables to see how they work, and they are useful. They give information about land use, productivity in sheep and dairying, and it's been good for the Federation to look at how we can use that information more extensively. That is just one of several projects that could be done under that banner. Leadership is another area that we'd like to do more of in terms of tino rangatiratanga. I just talked about decision-making and autonomy in this area, and the Federation has a role to play around ensuring all of the regions that it's involved with around the country do take a leadership approach to things. That's where working with yous come into the fore quite extensively. So just on that too, we've got mātauranga, we've got tino rangatiratanga, and I think we just missed kotahitanga there, sorry, and that is about unity and working together. These concepts are quite simple, but in practice they can become quite difficult, subject to the partners that you work with, and on that regard, just making sure that we have that as a platform is quite important. Another one here in terms of tino rangatiratanga is advocacy. A big role that we play is ensuring that we have submissions through on some of the key legislation, water, all of those things we have a say about. And again, to be able to do that, we need to have good information that comes from the work that is done as part of the census and as part of the work that comes out of government agencies on the whole. Whaihua here, I'm not completely sure whether census data drills down into land use and productivity on orchards and on farms, and if it doesn't, I suggest that it should. If it does, that's great. Let's work out how to make it more prevalent in the profiling that the Federation does in the future. So just up there with the kiwi fruit picture, one project that the Federation is doing is called Tūhono Whenua. Some of you are involved with that. I've got the privilege of already saying that one orchard that's involved in that project around extensive productivity has gone from producing 3,000 trays per hectare on their block. They've got approximately 10 hectares to producing 9,000 trays this year. So times that by 10 trusts around the country, a small project like this has got extensive impact on economic prosperity and productivity in where we work. So that's another project that the Federation is currently doing at the moment. There's also some other ones I understand with about partnership to do with dairy farming and sheep and lamb, and there's some work that's been done with Miraka and also forestry as well. I don't know the details of there, but I just want to reiterate that it's aligned with innovation as one of our key drivers in the work that we do. So just to bring that to a fore, the Federation is about advocacy, it is about networking, and it is about innovation, but at the end of the day, what we want to do is contribute to the overall well-being of all of us in this nation. Okay, just to get a bit of a sense of how that works, I just want to only labour this for a second. You should all know what this is. It goes in the paper all the time, and it's come from statistics in 2006, where it says our land base is, or our asset base is roughly $36.7 billion. That's a breakdown of it, and you'll see that $10 billion is directly in relation to Māori Trust and Incorporation. Why I've put these up here is just to sort of reiterate that the Federation doesn't do this work by itself. There's another couple of projects that come into play, or platforms in which the Māori economic development occurs. One is the asset base that's just been talked about in the Bell report. Another one here is the recent He Kai Ka Kurenga. There are a series of goals that are there. I won't read them, but what I want to emphasise is every bit of work that is done to do with census contributes directly to the achievement of one of these goals. And just to give you an example on the first one, greater educational participation and performance. Obviously, taking a snapshot of where our kids are now, where they were, where they want to go, what the qualifications that they have, and how they relate to productivity, e.g. engineering, geothermal development into Aropaki, is directly aligned. So if we're not able to use that information and set a pathway forward to ensure that these goals are achieved, we're doing something wrong. So underneath all of this is just the reality of trying to knit together that, and we're not always the best to do it. So what I want to say to you today is that there are a bunch of really bright people here that can help us get where we want to go if we start configuring the way that we think about things and bring that together as a sort of collective energy there. I think I'm running out a little bit of time, so I'm just going to quickly talk about two other projects that we've been doing. One is the Māori Economic Intelligence Project. That one there is around exactly what we're talking about. It's about being intelligent about the information that you have, how you use it, and bringing it together under one platform, drawing from census information. It's still in play, and Te Horipo Karaitiana, our CEO, is still bringing together that initiative. Many of you may have heard about the Māori Business Barometer project with ANZ Bank that was launched a couple of weeks ago. That one there, the Federation was heavily involved in as well. That one took a snapshot of business and members and some non-members and what they were doing and what their capacity and appetite for advanced economic development might be in the future. I didn't get the opportunity to go to the launch of that report, but I heard that it was very good. One other one I just wanted to acknowledge as part of those, sorry that slide shouldn't have been there, is the good work that's done in the iwi profiles. I've been fortunate to utilise that information in the treaty settlement work that I've done. It's actually very good. Again, the only downside is that it's stuck in play for 5 years and you're not able to extrapolate how you might be able to put those figures forward. Just to give you an example, the acquisition of te reo and homes is a very big matter for most tribes, and just the conversational reference that is put into the census is very good. So 2001, I think it was, Ngaitarangi was able to have a conversation with approximately 33% of its population. That dropped to 24% in 2006. I understand it's dropped quite significantly as a result of the 2013 stats, down so much that it's in the single-digit numbers. That information is pertinent and valuable. What isn't so great is those 5-year timeframes. Cool. One of the questions that was put to me, don't worry about this, I just wanted to put it up there to kind of like prompt you and get one of you to read it out one by one. For us to have better use of what work that you do, you need to know some of the things that are going on in our brains so you can react to them. Now, these were just some that I had put up there, and why they're important is because when in your work you go to break down information, it doesn't always perfectly align to what we want. So just as an example there, here's a question I just put. How can a census data be broken up, and how might members be able to get an instant glimpse of that information in relation to what they need? So if you look at what I have in terms of where I sit with Mātātua, I don't know if there is a very nice capture of Mātātua data that can be used to help inform us in our work around trusts and so on and so forth. I understand that there are iwi profiles that are in place, but by no means does that help get that regional platform nice and tidy. The reason I'm bringing that one up as well is because there's been a recent launch of the Bay of Plenty Māori Economic Strategy about 3 weeks ago as well, and the alignment of the information that you have and the information that that strategy wants needs to align. So I'm on that advisory board, and I'd like to ensure that we've got some connectivity going on there. So that's just one example. Another one is, how do we train our smart cookies to come to you to get the information, to do some smart work on tables, to make that information pertinent to what we're doing? I have no idea, but I know that it's a good thing to do, and I think in the future, us being able to use what data you have in real time is going to be really important. I'm not going to go over those there, but I just want to put it out there that 5 years is too long. We need to work out how to break it up and to make it more usable for us so we can get better development going on our land bases, in our asset, in our backyard, a lot faster than we may have done in the past. So just in conclusion there, it's a fact. As we go on, we have far greater expectations from us all about what we are and about to do. You know, 20 years ago we didn't have cell phones that kept us up all night, but many of us are working after hours, doing work all the time, and as a transforming concept around that, we're all expected to do more. It's a norm now to do more. With that comes an expectation that across the board, information that we have will be better and will be more pertinent to what we want. So in reality, more is needed, not less, but the opportunity for alignment is great. And I say that under the spirit of partnership, because the Federation of Māori Authorities cannot get where it needs to go without working in partnership with government agencies and its members that are now becoming an extensive footprint within Māori economic development around the country. And the future ahead is great. So we're looking forward to doing our part. to make New Zealand a better society. And I just want to say thank you for inviting me to come, and I'm happy to take any questions. Just one question? Ask me a question, Cyril. Nah. Go on.
Grant's probably got a question.
Kia ora. Yep. Yep.
Administrative databases that many of these people take care of, what would be three key pieces of information that you think would be really useful for, say, Māori young?
Yeah. That's probably a really good question, because I've just been involved in our trust, our iwi trust, trying to reform that whole concept and try and make it usable. They want to make it online, they want to make people use it whenever they want, but at the end of the day, people aren't going to use it if they don't know how to use it. So first one would be, how do you use the information? So if people want to, and this sounds basic for people that are involved in this work, people need training to know how to use the information. So, you know, pivot tables, all that kind of stuff, I don't know about it. It's simple for some of you, it is not simple for other people. So training how to use the data is a good one. Training how to read census, basic, but what I mean about that too is over the time horizons, you know, going back 15 years, there's basic percentages of advancement across various areas, and if we were going to use education as a concept, most tribes have scholarships now. What tribes don't have is a strategy to align with kids going into educational areas that need to contribute to their development. So another one would be strategy alignment with data. I don't know what that means in terms of the work that you do, but that would one training, strategy alignment, so you can pull out the information behind the scene. And the third one would be that user interface now. Everyone is doing it on internet. We've gone from hard copy to PDF, online. That requires a conversation with people, and it's not started yet. So those would be three that I'd start with. One more? Why did I reread today? Any of that? Because all these lovely ladies did. Yep. Yep.
We've got people who can come out and hold workshops on specific needs and help demonstrate some of the fantastic tools we've got on our website.
Yep.
So we can definitely continue that conversation after this session if you like to try and set something up like that. That would be of interest.
Just that very point there that you raised came about also with Plant and Food not too early ago. Have a wonderful range of internships. Government have a whole bunch of projects that most tribes know nothing about. So I don't know who takes responsibility for ringing up, just touching base, but basic things like that are not getting out to tribes. So I don't know what you do. Someone needs to get on the phone. Yeah, but that's a good point. Oh well, thank you very much.